Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. Welcome back. And happy Monday to all our viewers.
Happy Monday. Welcome back. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. But it is time to get back into these charts and back to At the Buzzer. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay. I've been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experiences, some knowledge, and hopefully assist you into becoming a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Coach Paul. You are all our chat, our audience. Let us know how you did today. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Shout out to Bruno in the chat as well, helping us run this show. But let us know how you did to start the week. Are you up on the week, down on the week? Anything that you learned so far? Guess shouldn't say up on the week or down on the week. It's Monday. The week just started. For me, a little bit of a mixed bag. I did look to short the equities. Talked during the opening call about not getting an extension up to 25,000 in the NASDAQ, potentially looking like a decent short opportunity. Turned out to be a pretty good one. Preempted the trade in my Topstep account, so took a loss there. Did wait in a personal account and got a piece of it, but if I have to give myself a grade for the day, probably a C plus, B minus. Reads were right, just could have executed a little bit better. Been a little bit more patient. I saw what the market was trying to do. I just tried to force it to do it before it triggered. So we do this in review of our trades, what the markets did, but then it's important to know kind of grade yourself, grade your own performance. Coach Paul, how was your day?
I had a very frustrating day. I've had tech problems
Okay.
since last night, so
Yeah.
really didn't trade much and was dealing with tech issues.
So that's a good point, right? When you have tech issues, do you avoid trying to trade, or if it affects your trading at all?
No, it affects my
Oh, yeah,
trading.
right.
It affects my focus,
Yeah,
frustration.
right.
So I really didn't trade much. I traded some last night, but today
Not too much.
I took my losses and said, you know what, I could easily spiral out of control here.
Yeah,
Um,
that's important
and
to know because sometimes we'll try to fight through it, or if maybe a trader hung out too much this weekend, right, and you're not thinking clearly, or you have the tech issues, try to power through it anyway. Um, you know, you may play some trades because you don't want to overfit one day, but if taking some losses, it's like, hey, you know what? It's it might be better for me to just shut it down because, like you said, because it could spiral. I've had too many days like that, too many. But we got
yeah, I know myself enough if I get,
oh yeah,
I'll easily take that anger
right to the market.
right to the market to show them. So
Yep, and the market's like, oh yeah, come on, bring it.
yeah,
We welcome that. But
you'll hurt someone.
shout out to Matt in the chat, caught gold longs and ES longs. Alexander up 370. Bjorn says, I've been on, hopefully I said your name right, Bjorn. I've been on tilt for past 2 days, down 400, not following my plan, second guessing myself. On tilt for 2 days, but down 400, it sounds manageable. Try to figure out what's triggering that tilt. But if you're managing your risk, whether it's tilt or it's not, the risk is managed, and that's why it should be a lot of our focus, right? You're going to lose some days, and some days you're going to lose because you're making terrible decisions. But if you make a solid decision to manage the risk before you click the button at all, then it's never going to hurt you too bad. It's when we don't do that and just leave it unfettered risk that anything can happen. But let's get into the markets. As far as news goes today, it was a pretty quiet day. As far as planned headlines goes, there's a ton of jobs data potentially coming out this week, starting tomorrow, we have jolts, and tomorrow is the last day of the quarter as well, last day of the month. So we have jolts tomorrow. We got a ton of job data the rest of the week. Uh, and I said potentially because there's a government shutdown looming right now, Coach Paul.
That is the headline. Is that good or bad for markets? Well, originally, didn't really matter, but I think that the basic feeling is will get resolved until it doesn't. So, last headline I saw, they're going to discuss as we speak. Um, but would I know what to do and how that's going to play out? No, I don't. I can't pretend. That's why I have a trading plan. But
Exactly.
right, I think this could create some problems here. When I I played chicken with a car a couple times in my youth.
Okay.
I think this game of chicken is going on here.
I think so. I think that's what it is. Mohammed in the chat agrees. He said, every year we have the story of a government shutdown. He said- Mo says they're not shutting down shit. No, they probably not, right? You're usually going to come to an agreement on something. There's threats of things, and the market pays attention, and then it kind of just dissipates, goes away, like nothing ever happened. All right. So with that being said, we'll keep an eye on it. Again, Trump and congressional leaders meeting right now on the potentially coming to the table and avoiding a shutdown. But we are here to talk about the markets and how it affects our trading. Today, we had 36 markets we can trade with top step accounts today. To the downside, we had RBOB gasoline futures down 2.82%, heating oil down 3.38%, and crude oil. Finally, the short in crude plays out that I've been looking for. Uh, Down 3.82% on the day in crude oil. Shout out to the house account opening range trades, holding that trade until the auto liquidator, just getting out of it at the end of the day, making up for probably a lot of the losses that we've seen on those opening range trades. To the upside, we had copper up 2.91%, micro Ethereum up 4%, and micro Bitcoin up 4.91% for our biggest percentage mover to the upside. Shout out to anyone who's trading crypto. Uh, Talk about our big four. We had crude oil down 3.83%, S&P up 0.23%, gold making new all-time high today, up 1.29%, and the NASDAQ up 0.4% on the day. Rich, no. I did not. It's a trade I talked about for a week and a half, and I didn't take it. But there's still room, I believe. I think there's still room in that crude trade, but I did not take it. Yeah, did not take it. All right, the house account took it. I'll take part of that. I helped them manage it, so I'll take a little bit of credit for that. Coach Paul, I got a daily chart in the Nasdaq up here. What are we looking at here on the daily?
Yeah, a little hook. Um, Good action from the from last night's opening until we had an ATR resistance one daily. But I mean that 3 days of correction got, and we've talked about this. This is it comes in a hurry. Um, Little concern of the wick, but overall, still very positive chart.
Yeah, still very bullish. What I'm seeing on the daily is I like this close above, and we talked about this during the opening call. I like this close above Thursday's range. Why am I picking Thursday's range? It's the highest volume candle that we saw on the daily in a long time. Almost how many days is this? 26 trading days since and that's the highest volume candle in 26 trading days. And we closed above it, right? That was the last candle of that pullback. If that pullback, satisfied pullback now, we found buyers. Uh, Closing above this just, shows some strength. Now, where we rejected, 25 points below that major 25,000 level, which is not going to be easy to get through. We got to convince some buyers up there. Because when we do break, we probably go all-time highs, right? So with all the data that we had today, Coach Paul, you said you had a daily ATR resistance up here at 24,980.
Hmm.
Uh, this is kind of the day that we maybe expected a little bit. I think going into the session last night, I had a session with the VIPs. I was expecting maybe a little bit more of an inside day in this range, but they came in and bought it early. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart here. Cleared this up. Also, Mo, nice trade during power hour, back in the green there. So here's the first 30-minute Globex open, and this, Coach Paul, is what we call urgency. First 30-minute opens within an hour. Price is leaving that range and closing outside of that range, and VWAP is trailing close behind. We talked on Friday, Coach Paul, about this 200 moving average and what the market's response is going to be to it when we trade it, and found buyers.
Um, Interesting. After that urgency, and Friday's close was an impressive. But Friday, remember we talked about that J trade on that big candle, and we just kind of leaked up from there. So, really, it just got ahead of itself. Like I
Yeah.
said, one daily ATR was added to the settlement price, was right at the high.
Hmm.
Was right after the opening. Not surprised it couldn't follow through. That's a lot of space. If we took the um, overnight hours and just looked on the regular trading hours, you see that gap. We haven't filled, but I mean, look at that. I mean, we just got so far ahead.
Yep. Yeah, got
Um,
got pretty extended, but also if we look at where VWAP was, price got extended.
yeah,
Price got extended, but the volume at some point stopped moving higher. This VWAP here never crossed above 900.
no, and basically, it's still a great close. Um, and nice action on both sides.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Braden and Dakota, not Braden, Jaron and Dakota. It was Jaron on today. Trading fast markets and adjusting. Right, initially they were both looking long. Market turned into a range bound market, and they got on the short side, able to capture part of that. And these big enough ranges in the Nasdaq, that early New York session was 130 point range to the upside and then the downside. So ton of opportunity there. Uh, Got a question here. Can you explain the J trade? Absolutely. So what we're looking for is a high volume exhaustion at the extreme of the day. So whether that be the high or the low of the day. I also want to point out a couple of things here because there was a saw some people looking for a potential J trade, but we say it all the time, Coach Paul. High volume doesn't always mean reversal. So for Kevin in the chat, can you explain the J trade? We have high volume candle, usually what would you say, 2.5, 3 times the average volume, Coach?
Yeah,
So,
it's at least 2.5.
yep.
The
So,
bigger, the better.
Kevin, you can see this volume candle right here. This is 7,300 contracts traded in a 3-minute period. I'm going to look at it at a 3-minute. You can see it on a 30-minute, 1 minute, whatever it is. But the idea is that high volume, which was at the low of the day. How do we know it's the low of the day? We don't until it closes above. So we do want to wait for the close above. The idea is longing this reversal, risk on the other side, and then looking for a 2-to-1 trade. Shout out to Bink in the chat. I see Bink all the time. Probably taking more J trades than takes J trades. Uh, Bink said a J trade a day keeps the DLL away. I like that. I might have to put that. I might have to put that on the shirt, Bink. I'll give you
Yep.
credit, but that is hey, you didn't get a 2-to-1 here, but you got 35 points somewhere late in the day, right? This is just a power hour trade. So if you couldn't find a trade all day, here's a decent one here. Um, just looking for that volume exhaustion. But high volume doesn't always mean reversal. Uh, in this case, and I was on with Alfie and Dolby a little bit earlier. When we saw the market turn for the session, we got back under this New York session VWAP. There were a couple of trades that I took later on in the day based on these high volume candles. I missed this short here, missed, quote unquote, missed. Um, didn't really have a setup to take, but this here, see this high volume candle and how we say sometimes those high volume candles, Coach Paul, can mean range bound markets. When we see this heavy selling here, I don't want to try to sell this low because we don't want to swim in front of the shark, right? The shark showed us that it could swim to this point, but it's also showing us that it stopped and it maybe can't go lower. But attaching a VWAP to that high volume candle, when we trade up to the high, which is also below the high that high volume candle, which is right below 24,900, and we don't trade above it. To me, this is a great spot to assume some risk on a short, right? Because that flat VWAP can tell us range bound trade. And the target on this to me has to be the lower extreme of the range, right? Could I look for a target lower? I could, but this high volume also has the potential to be a range for a little while. But taking the short up to there, I think is a good spot to limit risk if we don't see that follow through. Because like we were saying on that J trade, we need to close outside. We can't close above it. That may be a good indication that these sellers are still pretty strong. And then we get another example of it here, right? Significant candle price action wise, decent volume, not the highest volume, decent volume trades there, flat VWAP again. And if we're getting in what the mm, you know more recent trend is, shorting where that volume came in can turn out to be a pretty good trade.
Well, until the end of the day, that large selling candles in there were they held. They were continuation.
Yep.
Not can't say it wasn't that surprising considered how high we were.
Right.
But one of the things too, I started. Let's look from the opening.
There's a New York session open there.
We had urgency.
Yeah, we did.
Now we had urgency with we were up what 180, 200.
For the day, yeah. Yep. Yeah,
Now
for the day from the open, yeah, from
for the
settlement.
day at that point.
Yeah, we were up about 200 points, a little over.
Yeah. So I just at that point you got to make a decision. I usually look for 2 to 1. I didn't take the trade because we were that far ahead. But if you take it, just understanding how, where we are. Like if on a day session we had that large gap, go ahead and take that. But I would suggest to pull back your expectations to a 1 to 1 and not look for a 2 to 1.
Yep.
Or me, or I just said, nah, I don't want. I'll just not take the trade. I had a good excuse. I was having tech problems, but
Blame it
and
on the
looking
tech.
at that in sincerity,
Yeah,
just remember where we're at that point. It's always good to look at just the regular trading hours to get
I agree.
a good idea of the risk.
I agree. All right. So going into tomorrow, we got a ton of data. I think the data is really going to frame for me what we do. Uh, but let's take one more look at a 30-minute chart on the Nasdaq extended trading hours at 200 moving average, right below where we are right now, 24,759. Just watching that area for tomorrow. Quick look at the S&P, very similar. What's that white line? Low of the day. It is also the 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. We traded above it last night, similar to the Nasdaq. Came right back to it. It's kind of sitting right. It is turning though. It's turning lower. Where we
Yeah.
had three down days, so that's to be expected. But would want to see this flatten out because that's telling us that the trend is. It didn't even. I guess it kind of flattened out. It almost looks like it just turned on a dime. Uh, where, sometimes we see this as a flat line. We had maybe a couple hours of that before it turned around. So see how the market continues to respond at that 200 moving average. Anything you got on the S&P, coach?
Um, the same as you just said, but that 200, is this a knee-jerk reaction?
Mm,
Um, but with this threat of a shutdown, it could get ugly fast.
yeah.
Who knows what I mean? And there's so I'm going to pull in. I'm going to rein in my risk. I'm going to size down. Um, because like I said, we had this rip up.
Hmm.
We're right at the 200 on the half hour. We didn't make new contract highs. Just I'm just going to be cautious.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down to 1 unit of risk.
There you go. There you go. And again, ton of data out. We're going to hear a bunch of headlines this week. Not headlines to be afraid of either. Understand that they're presenting opportunities, but with managed risk, right? We can't. I probably don't want to over leverage into any of these news events because that just sounds like a recipe for volatility. I won't say disaster because you could be on the right side of the trade, but it sounds like a recipe
Yeah.
for extreme volatility. All right, let's take a look at quick look at the Russell back below the 200 moving average on the 30-minute, and the Dow. Russell and Dow looked heavy today, uh,
Yeah.
heavier than
That's what. Is that the Dow?
this is the Dow on the daily.
Yeah. It's neutral. But the Russell and the Dow did not, there was not aggressive buying in there like um, the other indices.
Yeah. Oh, there
In
was
fact,
not.
it finished lower on the day in the Russell, but still nothing in there that says sell to me. But interesting, we're not too far from that 20-day moving average. Let's watch that coming into tomorrow.
Stuff. All right, let's take a look here at gold. Also, I want to give a shout out to Caleb Joe in the chat. Passed my VIP combine today in Coach Paul's VIP. We got a profiteer. Moving on to the VIP XFA. Great job, Caleb. Great job, Coach Paul. Good to
Great
hear.
job, Caleb. Keep up the good work um, and preserve your XFA. Great job. And go profiteers.
Let's go, profiteers. I had a lunatic, I can't remember the name, but let me know over the weekend that they passed as well. Good to see traders passing those VIP accounts and taking their time with it too, not rushing the process, not using a ton of resets, and just really trying to trade those accounts the right way. So it's always good to see those. AB the Don says, J trades have taught me to put anchored VWAP on all above average volume to see where volume is taking us. Yeah, that is my. If you guys look at my trading chart while the trading day is going, there's a bunch of drawings, a bunch of anchored things, and uh, it just helps me make sense of what's going on. Uh, how do we make sense of what's going on in gold here? 38.6220, new all-time high in the gold futures, continuing the rally, continuing to push closer to that 4,000 level in gold. We are less than 4% away. 4,000. What are you seeing here, Coach Paul?
4,000, 5,000, you
Count.
name
Let's
1,000.
count by the thousands.
No, I heard a bit of news that I didn't and this might be old news, but the the gold holdings in central banks is larger than the euro dollar holdings in central banks. So it's becoming a default currency.
Hmm. Gold is.
Gold is. Whenever, it's a new regime. When I heard that, I was it shocked me. I'm like, really? So it's not I wasn't surprised, but I didn't know it was in that size. So looking at this chart, what's to stop this? What's going to stop this?
Right.
It would have to be some massive change of government spending, or like give me or basically a trade war.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it, but you see that chart right there, and it just there's the evidence. So I, onward and upward.
Yeah. Really strong market in gold. We do see, I think it's healthy, some of the consolidations that we've seen, but they've just been that, right? They've been consolidations. You can't even really call them pullbacks. We get some high volume, we trade around there for a little bit. It looks like a flagging pattern, then we just continue. And there's really no difference here on the daily. Let's take a look at the 30-minute. Lat What's that white line, chat? What is that white line? 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart, the low of the day. Pretty much to the tick, 37.85.20. We tagged that and did not look back. You shall not pass. The you shall not pass line. For anyone who, if this is your first time here, that white line on my chart is the 200 moving average, simple moving average on the 30-minute chart. Look at it on a daily. Got to give Coach Paul the credit for that, keeping it on my screen, because we see markets respond to it so often that it is hard to ignore. Uh, Real nice tag of that 200 moving average, Coach Paul. I think we got. No, we didn't. Wow, that was right off the open.
Yeah, no, it
Talk,
was urgency.
talk about
Look at the
urgency.
size of that candle too.
This is a 3-minute candle right off the Globex open. So as soon as the markets open up at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Eastern time, $10 candle. Where did it stop? Right at that 200 moving average, and that was the low for the day. Really nice trend. VWAP leaves that range pretty early. Not a market that you want to short for a very long time. We actually made some money in the house account today shorting gold, but without the management that we had of that trade, it turns into a loser. This really just got going last night, Coach Paul, and
Yeah.
once it opened, what is there to say? It just went.
To wait for and look at the next big volume was Shanghai.
Yep. So we have Shanghai open here, which is 9 p.m. Eastern time. We get a pullback. We get a little bit of a pullback, but what happens here? We pull back. At some point, we get high volume. And what happens with that high volume? Into a level where we opened up, we close above it, and
The
once we
J
close up,
trade.
yeah, it's not at the low of the day, and they're not always going to be at the low of the day, but identifying what those high volume candles do, you can do it on a 30-minute as well, right? That's the highest volume 30-minute candle of the day. Right off that Shanghai open, we pull back into the Globex opening range, Coach Paul, and once we close above, you could even wait, right? You could be patient here. We're talking about 30-minute candles, but once it leaves that range, the market's telling us we're done, right? We found some buyers here. It's happening right at that major 3,800 level as well.
Yeah, good point. It was a major level.
And
One through it like a hot knife through butter, and it's feeding upon itself.
yep. Uh, uh, we did cover the J trade that happened in the ES and the NASDAQ towards the end of the day. It was a nice one. Didn't turn out to be a 2-to-1 trade, but for the last 45 minutes of the day, that was a pretty nice trade to be able to catch. But this one in gold, I mean, when they play out, Coach Paul, on the 30-minute chart, there's just such
The
such good trades because you know inherently there's a going to be a bigger range for the most part. Yeah, this was just a really nice trade, really nice trend up. We took a short in the house account on the opening range. 5-minute opening range trade. Here is that range. Uh, it went pretty quick, right? It went pretty quick. It got down to an area 3840s. that I think we didn't get exactly down to VWAP. So Hogan and I were targeting VWAP on that trade, but at the same time, we said it's hard to be short gold for a long time. So we peeled off a couple at the lower extreme of this range, and then I think we left one runner that got stopped out at the original stop, and I think that's where it's a good example of having reasonable expectations for your trade, right? Me I might have a setup, and in this case, the opening range trade is such a mechanical setup that you just have to take it. Setup triggers a short, but now I have to ask, where does that setup fit in the overall structure of the market? And if we were looking for a $50 sell-off in gold, it just wasn't happening today. So you have to take what the market is willing to present to you, and you can still have a profitable day. It might not be your biggest day ever, but still a decent trade there, Coach Paul.
Well, also here's another one. By the U.S. Open, there wasn't much meat left on the bone.
Right.
So, but there wasn't failure either. So it was tough. Um, I didn't look at it after it was like, I mean, it exploded.
Yeah.
Now, reset tomorrow in an hour and a half, just about, and we'll see again. But I mean, runaway train. Don't step in front of it. I
No.
have no desire to. It can go down $500 without me. I'm not selling it.
Yeah. With that kind of institutional flow that you said coming into the market, you're not going to fight them for, you're not going to win for very long on the short side right now. And, we're not just talking about recently. This has been the case for how many great sell opportunities have there been in gold, even on a higher time frame in the last 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
There haven't been. This looks like this chart is insane. This is a daily chart,
Yeah.
and it is not stopping anytime soon. It doesn't look like. All
So
right.
it's well, I don't want to go too deep, but I'll add to it during the week. But
All
there's a
right.
political there's a political and trade war component to this.
Yep.
And I don't see that being changing anytime soon. God, look at that. Just look at that.
Yeah. This is insane. So Balaji asks, after that big move in gold, we consolidated at the top all day long. Is it safe to say one should wait for the breakout? It's a good question here. So let's look at what gold has done recently when it makes an all-time high. Here's the last all-time high. What do? We had decent volume. We made an all-time high, and then we consolidate for a little bit. Not saying that that's exactly what's going to happen today, but who knows, right? Well, the day before that, we also made an all-time high, and we got some continuation. So it really is, you kind of have to wait and see what the market is going to present that day, because gold can just continue to run, or what it's shown recently is it can make that all-time high and pull back a little bit. Closing on the high of the day here, we've seen some of the other metals do this recently, and what I would be looking at, I'd frame out this day's range. Watch that Globex open. Gold was up 1.3% today. I'd watch that Globex open to see whether or not we get any urgency. Probably more so watch that Shanghai open, see how the market trades around there. If we don't get immediate follow through, there may be a pullback. And again, anything we say here is for educational purposes only. If we don't get immediate follow through, I could see a little bit of a pullback, just the way that the market has been trading. But like Coach Paul just said, I don't know that I want to short it, right? So a pullback may just be an opportunity to get into a long for me, and it may present a trade. But again, gold is a hard market to trade. I've been placing some kind of set and forget trades in the metals, which have been nice, but they've all been to the long side. I can't place a set and forget. If I take a trade tonight with Dakota on slow markets, and it's a short, it's not a set and forget short. I'm actively managing that trade. And I'd be looking for maybe that prior all-time high, which was up at 38.2460, kind of right near 50% of today's range. But we will see. You'd say all that, and the market does something completely different.
What's interesting with that is that Bitcoin exploded,
Mhm.
and also the bonds rallied a handle. of 32 ticks. And so, like I said, it's coming into a lot of politics here.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to come to some kind of, it's not coming to a climax soon. Seems to me it's East versus West
Mm.
in a currency or so it's being played out in gold.
Okay.
And then now Bitcoin is starting to find a bid. I think it's no one wants to own currencies.
Right. If the
This is
currency if the currency is losing a ton of value.
yeah. I mean, I'm not keeping cash in any account.
Right.
Gold, buy more.
Right. This is continuing. It's continuing. We will see. This story is not. It's far from over. Far from over. All right. Any other metals you want to talk about, Coach Paul? Or should we go over to crude oil?
Oh, I didn't see what did silver do?
Silver, nice rally as well, continuing to make highs. Of this
Oh
most recent high,
man,
these are decade highs in silver. Platinum, same story. Uh, literally all of these
copper.
metal copper, uh, all of these metal markets are having moments right now. So if you're looking for trending markets, silver can get pretty expensive. All of the metals, there are micro silver, there's micro copper you could trade, micro gold you could trade. Uh, Ryan says, "I love gold, much cleaner than the crack attack, which is the NASDAQ." Uh, there's a bunch of different markets out there, and the silver markets are definitely having a moment right now. I know a lot of people default to the equities, which are making all-time highs as well. So I don't fault anybody for doing that. But if you struggle with the equities, understand that there's a ton of other markets to trade and a ton of directional markets right now. Now that could change. I could say that we get a headline tomorrow that changes all these markets. But for right now, they are trending pretty strong in the metals.
Oh, yeah. Let's look at the euro currency. So we're seeing all these metals explode up, but
Hmm.
it's not like it's. I think it's just like I said before. It's related to weakness in currencies. That's
Mm,
not a big. Euro currency's been rallying, but it hasn't been a. I mean, it's not like they were banning the dollar and going into the euro.
right. Yeah, they're
Let's look
going
at
into
the yen.
gold.
I mean, this is very inflation.
Mm,
It's got inflation written all over it because the purchasing value of your dollar is going down, and I don't see any. I don't see anything stopping it. It's a bit concerning. Now, if equities ever get a hold of this, it can be very bullish for equities in the short term.
yeah,
Yeah, an M2 money supply it is tied hand in glove to gold. So I think volatility is coming. We see it in gold. I think it's going to come in a lot of other um, futures. Very interesting.
just looked up, did a quick Google search of M2 money supply. M2 money supply reaches new all-time high of 22.2 trillion. I got more research on that.
Yeah. Now take a.
Money
I
printers
saw a
going.
chart of M2 and gold.
Okay.
Yeah, they were basically intertwined.
Hmm.
So
Interesting. Interesting. Seeing some ringing endorsements for at the buzzer here, so I'm gonna read these out. Lak Wayman says, Coach Paul and Jay always talked about micro scaling. I never fully understood it until I understand it. Now all I do is micros. My accounts have been green for 2 weeks. Less pressure. Scale down. Scale down. Let your trades work. Um, it sounds counterintuitive, right? If I scale down, I'm going to make less. You're probably not. Probably actually make a lot more. And again, that's everyone's results are going to be different, but uh, you may let your trades work out or play out a little bit more if you are trading with reasonable size. So great to hear that. Shout out to Ryan in the chat. Says Jay told me a year ago to stop trading Nasdaq. Finally trading well again because I finally listened. It's tough, man. It is tough to do. I will say I don't love trading Nasdaq every day, right? I know that there are cleaner markets. It's kind of easy to default to because you know there's going to be volatility, but sometimes you got to fight against that, right? Because that volatility, while it means opportunity to make money, it also means opportunity to lose, and that's in any market. But there are cleaner markets. There are more forgiving markets than the Nasdaq. Uh, it's obviously the most popular, not just at Topstep, literally everywhere. Right? Look at any, uh, any streamer out there, any social media person out there. Everyone is trading what? Everyone's trading the Nasdaq, Coach Paul. Uh, on Instagram, on Twitter. It's hey, I'm a trader. I trade the Nasdaq. So it feels like you're doing something wrong if you go and trade something else, right? It's like, well, everyone is trading this thing, so why am I not trading it, right? If I go trade the euro, but we all hear the percentages, and if everyone's doing something, mom used to say that all the time. Everyone's doing something. Does that mean you have to do it? Doesn't.
Oh, did she use if everybody jumped in the lake?
Yep,
Does that
yeah,
mean you have
all
to?
of those, every single one of those things. Yep, she would use all of them. She used all of them, but, yeah,
Well,
you don't have to.
I will just give you a little background about when I started at an exchange called the Mid America Commodity Exchange. It was the original exchange that offered mini contracts. It was a place for neophyte traders, or maybe not even neophyte, if you have small capital, a place to go and trade that was sized to the capital you had, and you could lose and blow out there and be able to come back. They were one fifth the size, in some places quarter the size. Long story short, it was all the busiest futures at the time: the soybeans, the corn, bonds, gold, silver. But the interesting part was when if you were standing in a pit that was dead, like you couldn't make money, literally, you're just sitting there waiting for nothing, for
Some
something to happen.
right.
All of a sudden, you hear a loud noise. You look over, and it's gold.
Mhm.
Well, if you were a good trader, if you had a process, I mean, guys did it. Good traders would walk right over to the gold and trade their process in a market that was moving.
Yep.
So the lesson
Know where the money is.
is you, if you have a process and with that comes discipline and money management, you can trade anything. Seriously, I mean, it could be stocks. Without it, it's just gambling. But there's plenty. We would talk about every time in your introduction, we have 34 places.
Yep.
Um,
Speaking of which, we got some questions here from Jawan and Dr. Ironspine. Any suggestions on alternative markets? I think gold is a good one. Gold has been probably the best trading market we've had all year. If you're going to go over there, micros, trade the micros, and that's probably a suggestion for any of them. What else would you suggest, Coach Paul? We just saw Barron actually, who got to the leaderboard trading the Nasdaq and then found some struggles and is trading way better because he switched from trading the Nasdaq to trading gold. Any other suggestions you have, Coach Paul?
um, I would look at 10-year. Also, Bitcoin, especially if you're starting out. Bitcoin is a place. Now the ranges are a couple $100
Right.
on a one micro. So that's another place to hone. You could go look at two places.
Yep.
I would suggest if you're brand new, find a place, and if you're getting crushed, maybe it's not you. It's the market you're in.
Right. Yeah.
But I think I highly suggest trading to micro Bitcoin.
Mm.
Um, and you know what I would also suggest, use your practice account.
Yep. 100%.
So you get an idea of the movements and how to size it um and get it's just like a feel for it.
Yeah.
But if you're just in one place struggling all the time, it might, and you have a process that you're confident in.
That's the important part.
Because if it's I don't want to get anyone confused here. If your process sucks,
It doesn't matter what
it
market you trade.
doesn't matter.
Right.
So determine if you're gambling or you're speculating. And that's why we're here, by the way, as Top Step, is to get some experience. Because without it, if you're trading your own money, it's multiples more expensive than you realize. Just exchange fees alone.
Yep.
I spend $450 every month paying the Merc, which is one exchange. No, it's not. It's the Merc, it's the Board of Trade, it's the Comex, it's all the other ones, and they charge you about 100 to 125 for a feed to each of those exchanges. So I'm going to bite my tongue. Understand, it's an expensive game, let alone playing with your own money.
Right.
This is a really good place to learn. Like I said, it reminds me of the mid-am. What do you learn? How to trade.
Yep.
So, yeah, and try some other places.
You can see.
Actually, try Rusty.
Yeah, try the Russell, the Dow, like
micro Russell.
and the same principles apply across the board, right? If you're over leveraged, but you think, oh, I'm going to go to Canadian dollar because it's not as volatile, and I'm just going to over leverage there, you're going to see the same results. Like Coach Paul said, having a process. And if you're brand new to this, do we suggest jumping around to a bunch of different markets? No. But what I will say is a lot of brand new people just default straight to the NASDAQ, which is, we've used this analogy before, but it's like learning it's doing driver's ed on a Formula One track.
Good
And
point.
if you're brand new and you defaulted to the NASDAQ because you saw somebody do it on Instagram, you saw someone on Twitter, they post all their P&L shots and screenshots, and you're brand new to trading, understand that you are trading the most difficult market that we have. It is what it is. And in a space where you're learning and you're trying to earn money quickly in the most difficult market that there is. So just keep that in mind. Right. But yeah, take a suggestion. If you try it out, like Coach Paul said, and you try it out in a practice account, let us know how it goes, right? Whether good or bad, let us know how it goes.
Yeah. And it's just good, it's good to explore.
Yep.
Like I said, another thing, when you start looking at other influences and they're making big money all the time, you got to ask how much money is in the account.
Yeah.
Because it's relative. Yep. And if this can really hurt you, because if you're like, well, I suck, I should be making minimum $1,000 a day, every day.
Yeah.
And so now you're trading your ego.
Yep.
You're not trading a plan. You're not trading. It's so easy to do. I've done it. I did it on the trading floor. Because I had this idea in my head because I was ignorant. Like, the greatest traders have no losing days.
Oh.
Literally,
yeah. Yeah. It's easy to think
so
that.
I have to figure out how to not lose.
Right.
When I should have been doing the opposite at that time.
Right.
So Great discussion. We'll do more of it.
Good
And I
stuff.
just want to answer one more question to Charles Chapman. The
Mhm.
mid-am was 444 West Jackson. Yes, across the street from the Port of Trade.
There you go. Let's take a look at crude oil. The short that I was looking for finally played out. Was I a part of it? No, but it played out. We identified where that range was finally in crude. It was on a weekly chart. I have this weekly candle here, pretty significant price action candle, and we've been in it the entire time. We had that push up in crude towards the end of last week that looked like maybe they were gonna try to break it out of the range. But crude remembered that it was crude oil and stayed right in the middle of that range, Coach Paul. A really nice short here today. Crude oil, the biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 3.86%, almost a 4% move in crude oil. I'm a little upset that I didn't take this trade. I'm going to be honest.
Were you up for
No,
London?
I wasn't. I wasn't. This weekend was too busy. I was asleep during London. If I was awake, I would have taken a trade. But and we could see again, London gets the best prices. We have that $65 level there. We opened right around it. Volume traded above it initially, but no extension. Volume never really left the first. It kind of did,
Oh
but
yeah, I did.
then London, London comes in
If you
and
bought it, it was a loss.
right. If you bought it, it was a loss, and we've been talking about this, right? Is it worth? And this is for every trader to decide, but is it worth trading crude before London, unless there's a clear early trade? 'Cause sometimes it is gonna be, right? We can't decide when it's gonna happen. You might get a headline that comes out, that gets crude moving early. But if you look at to a high probability when the moves start happening, Coach Paul, it's during London. So if I consider that the open, there's no reason to and say there's no reason. Uh,
Yeah,
no
well,
one
it's
wanted to buy it.
clearer.
Right. No one wanted to buy it. Urgency from that London trade. Uh, Here's the first 3 minutes of the London session open, and they just sold it right away and never stopped. Uh, just never stop selling it. We have the New York session open, which is 9 a.m. Eastern time. Very similar story here. House account did get in short on a opening range trade and one that you could hold all day. I was trying to convince Hogue and JD to reach out to the risk management team and just hold this trade until Thursday. But I think we did close it. Tag 63. Again, this is one of the bigger percentage moves we've seen in crude in a little while. We were trading in the $65 handle and we traded all the way down to 63. So a $2, a little over $2 high to low move in crude is a pretty big day, especially when you look at the range that we've been in. But anything you're seeing here, Coach Paul, in crude? Oh wow,
What's the white line?
this is the daily chart on the 200 moving average on the white line, 63.20, uh, near the lows of the day.
Once again, where did we go to? The top of the range.
Yep.
It's a very contrived place here. I just don't know if crude oil to me is being manipulated here. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, okay, they got the phone call, sell it, drive
Yep.
it down until it ain't.
Buy it back.
Um, but right back to the 200, it took 1, 2, 3 days, go right back in one day. Um, Back into the range, probably a good, probably a good place to buy it here. Um,
Right.
I mean, I can't say much else than that.
Cannot either. There we go. Nice day in crude. We got a question here from Psalm 91. Good to see you. Hey, coaches, what are your thoughts on the importance of trading psychology versus risk management? What is more important? Thanks. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
I would say that neither is more. Risk management is more important. Risk management is more important because if you don't have any money to trade, you could have the best psychology in the world, but if you don't have any money to trade, it doesn't matter, right? So you got to protect the risk capital initially. But I would say that they're both almost equally important for different reasons. I think risk management is important because it keeps you in the game. Uh, you protect your profit, you protect your account. I would say psychology. I think a lot of times what happens, and I just had this thought, right? So I might be freestyling a little bit here, but we've been doing this for so long that sometimes that happens. But a lot of times traders try to, I'm going to make up a word, maybe psychologize their way to risk management. If I just think better, I'll manage my risk. I'll be able to hold on to I'll be able to cut losses and things like that. But when we think about what reality is, some days you might have a bad tech day where your system doesn't start up. You could have the greatest psychology in the world. If trading doesn't go well, or you decide to over leverage one day because your psychology is a little bit off, risk management is going to prevent that. Uh, so, you know, I think psychology is probably more important for trade execution and actually uh, putting on the trades when the market calls for it. Your trading psychology is more important, but again, I think they're important for different reasons. Uh, Hopefully that answered your question, and I didn't confuse anyone. I made up a word. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
I like the word.
Right
Well, I think they're one and the same.
there, you go.
And I'll tell you why. Without proper risk management, there's a very good chance, especially trading futures, that you're over leveraged. And if you're over leveraged, you're going to be trading either ignorantly, like you could be right the market and wrong your position size. You got blown up because you couldn't afford the swing.
Right.
Very possible. Or the opposite. You're not trading big enough and you're not going to go forward. But the biggest one I see is over leveraged. As an old trader in the pit used to say, you'll be as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. You're just not going to trade right because your front of mind is be right because you can't afford to be wrong. Now, when I say that, that goes right to trading psychology. And we had a little discussion earlier about using micros, where you can trade and trade with some confidence that not every tick is life or death. So understanding your risk management and proper sizing. Okay, let's put it. What's the difference? And I do this with my profiteers. First lesson we'll learn: what's the difference between gambling and speculating?
Risk management.
Risk management. Without risk management, you're gambling. Really, I mean, just you really. So when you really focus on if you would go play poker, and you say, "Well, I want to make $10,000, and I'm going to bring $500." Okay, and after the first deal, you bet $500 or $300 on the. You're not going to be around. You can't. You have to be right.
Yep.
So all the trading psychology in the world is not going to change that. But that blend, it starts with risk management, allows you to make good decisions under pressure. Great question.
Great question and great answer, Coach Paul. Great answer. All right, we are pretty much at time here. Any other markets you want to talk about, Coach Paul? Any words you got before we wrap?
Let's do a real quick review of Bitcoin. Someone asked for it.
Here's Bitcoin on the daily.
Still sideways action, even with today's big rally. If
Yeah.
we look at a weekly, we're I've stopped trading it for now.
Okay.
But last night, let's look at the half hour because we had that weekend.
Is that white line?
Yeah. So the white line held. So it's kind of, I'm friendly to it. We've been under it for a while. And we had some urgency and finished towards the highs of the day. As a matter of fact, we were making highs into the close as we were talking. Pretty friendly. Now, maybe the central banks are buying some Bitcoin with their gold. I don't know. They didn't send me an email or a text, but it looks pretty good.
Uh,
And final statement is, and once again, plan your trade, trade your plan. That is the combination of psychology and risk management.
some stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. I had asked Psalm 91 a follow-up question because the questions initially said, I had a bad day. And you kind of framed out what a bad day is. A bad day is not following my trade plan. I'm happy you said that and not that a bad day was a losing day. Losing days can be great trading days if the losses are measured. So, for any of the traders that are out there, if you consider it's a bad day because you see red on your calendar, uh, we might have to adjust that viewpoint. If you followed your plan, managed your risk, you did your job. Your job was done for the day. You applied some risk in the market. The market didn't agree with your trade idea, and you paid for it. And that's just the cost of doing business, right? So don't uh, magnify the results of any one given losing day by over leveraging. Understand what that downside risk is, and just come back the next day. I have a green XFA that I'm trading, and I've lost 2 days of every week this month. Uh, and I'm just going to continue to go. I lost today. It sucks. I don't want to lose. I want to win every single trade that I place. I want every trade to go immediately in my direction as soon as I place the trade, because that's what I want. But unfortunately, the market does not care. So I have to manage risk. All right. So manage your risk, trade your plans, trade your setups when they present themselves. Be patient. Don't try to rush this process. Time is going to go by either way. And if you take it a little bit slower, you probably get to your destination quicker. So thank you, as always, for joining us. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. If you like what we're doing here, Coach Paul, always great doing these sessions with you. Bruno, thanks as always for helping us run these. Coach Hoop is doing a session in Discord in about 15 minutes. I have Coach Ray and Coach Vince, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time, and Coach Dakota for slow markets. I'm going to be joining Dakota tonight for slow markets at 7:30. We have Aaron with the London Open, 1:30 a.m. Central. Deanna with a new time for her show, 5 a.m. Central Time. Nice. I could probably trade with D now when I
Yeah.
when I wake up randomly in the morning. It's not even random anymore. It's planned. Uh, it's planned at this point. But trade well, everybody. Manage your risk, and we will see you all tomorrow.
All right. Have a good evening. Bye.